Okay, MGM Push the Limits is back. Here she is. Been a long time since I've done a video. I've been meaning to do stuff, believe it or not, but really busy with Ultimate RC events and work, which is really cool because that business is going really well. There it is. If anybody, Ultimate RC events, look it up, see what we do. Okay, Push the Limits is back, but something has happened. Look at this side. Push the limits. That's great. Look at this side. Nothing. And if you look carefully, there's a repair. So Push the Limits got airborne again. At about 152 kilometres an hour, we got it airborne and we split the side of the hull. If you look really carefully in the repair, you can still see the split along there, but it is well and truly joined. There is no pulling that apart now. The great news is the boat survived. It split the hull, bent the rudder, we hit that hard, but that was easy to straighten, that was easy to repair, and inside of here, everything was absolutely fine. Previous build video in regards to this boat was posted a long time ago, I know, but rewatch it because this will tie in with the same, and I talk about the centre of gravity with the boat being between the two steps of the hull. The gear, when I first got this boat, bare hull, nothing in it. The unfortunate part is you can't do it in stages. You have to buy everything ready to go, because what you need to determine is where's your receiver battery going. Mine sits there. Where's that servo going to go for the steering? Where are the speed controllers going to sit? Where are the batteries going to sit? You need to figure all this out. Now, the way to figure most of it out is to start with the motors. Where are the motors going to sit? How long are those shafts going to be? It doesn't really matter. You try to keep everything as short as possible, because the shorter shafts you're going through, the less rolling resistance you're going to have. So those shafts actually have to spin in there. They create resistance as they spin at high RPM, and you want that to be as least as possible. So try and keep those shafts reasonably short. But you can't have the motor, probably this one's easier to see, can't have the motor right up the back here, or then you can't get the angle as shallow as possible. So it's a cross between trying to get the shaft as shallow as possible. That's not too much angle in the shaft, so you're not bending those flex shafts too much. You're trying to keep them as straighter run as possible. We spoke about the drive shafts underneath the boat and where they sit. On this side of it, you want to come through the back there of the hulls, and then keep it nice and shallow into your motors. Obviously nice and straight, a very slight bend, as you can see in both of them. Very slight bends, because the more bends and raises and you do in your tubes, the more resistance you're going to get on the shafts. You want to try and keep that resistance down. That's going to equate to amperage in the long run when you pull the data logs on here. Everything gets fitted in real loose. You just plop it in. It's not even glued, nothing. It was all placed in here to figure out the center of gravity. Then there was a pipe put underneath the boats so the boat could rock up and down on the pipe. That then allowed me to see where the center of gravity is going to be. The rudder obviously needs to be on. You might have a few fixtures, so these things aren't going to weigh a lot. They, if they're not there, don't worry. But what I did is actually weighed them on scales, and then I put a couple of coins up here just to mirror the weight. So I tried to get this boat as close as I could. Even the foam that weighs not much, I knew that was going to be foam here and here. So at the time, I just placed a couple of little pieces here and there just to get everything as balanced as possible. That's really important, because when you're doing high speeds, if the boat is tail heavy, it's going to kite, it's going to get airborne. If it's front heavy, it might skip in the water and then do a nosedive because it's too pitched down. Just an important note in regards to balancing everything. It was done with the batteries as well included, but I wanted the batteries very close to the center of gravity, because I wanted the batteries to be able to influence the center of gravity going forward or backwards. So if I actually shift my batteries forward, I can get the center of gravity to go down more and to go backwards. If you can see the steps there in the hull, the battery mounts are pretty much dead on it. They're actually just slightly forward. But I can then shift those batteries up further or push them back to change the center of gravity without having to change the drive lines. That's really important, because if you watch the first video, we talk about trying to keep the boat very flat and steady. So the best way to change my angle of attack is push weight forward or push weight back, using those batteries. And those batteries are a fair weight. I haven't weighed them, but they weigh, you're running 12 cells per side, 9,500 milliamp batteries. That, that's 2 big bricks on either side of the boat. It's a lot of weight that you can manipulate the weight by putting it forward or backwards. So whilst we're balancing this whole thing, I'm also trying to keep those batteries close to the center of gravity. So that meant I pushed my MGM controllers slightly, back to trying to counteract, to get all the balance. So there's a bit of mucking around by putting this forward and back, moving your batteries around, putting your engines here, there, going, I don't want these shafts there. So once you're happy, you start manufacturing everything. Okay, if you've lasted this long through all my ramble, you probably want to know the next stuff. How was everything fixed in? I'll try and speed this part of it up. The carbon fiber plates, they are 2 3mm plates laminated to make a 6mm plate. The back plate, there's the original plate at 3mm. There it is. That is just sitting there to support the engine. It's actually just an arc. It's exactly half of the motor, so it sits in there. It can't laterally move. It could jump up and down, but this plate stops that. The amount of strength in that plate is amazing. So I made the plates out of cardboard initially, put cardboard in there to get the profile right. Now, once I had that one, I just mirrored it to make the exact same one on this side. Once I'd located motors and everything like that, everything was set in line. So motors are in the same positions. I made a carbon fiber plate on the bottom here, glued that down to mount my MGM controllers. So they're actually bolted to the carbon fiber plate. I made my own aluminium standoffs, which you can see there, to support that. The plates for the batteries are 3mm plate. There's just 3mm plate glued in either side, glued, which ended up with them glued in there. Those glued in there, the impact when I hit this side, this all kept my hull in one piece. It stopped it flexing, stopped it doing everything. So the battery mounts actually make sure that the sponsons can't flex the outside, because it locks everything in. Over to here, 3mm carbon plate, just to make this. Nothing pretty, everything. There is some very nice boats out there with carbon everywhere and all sorts of things happening. This is very minimalistic. Okay, water pickups. You've seen the bottom of the hull if you've watched the previous video. The water pickups come in from down there. Same on the other side. And they're dedicated lines, so one pickup cools one speed controller, spits it out. One pickup feeds the motor, spits it out. They do not run both, because if you run into either one first, you're heating the water and then you're sending hot water into there. I wanted fresh water to both. So fresh, cool water, one in, out, one in, out. Same on the other side. One in, out, one in, out. And that's your cooling system. You may notice I've got a voltage regulator that takes a 2-cell LiPo, voltage regulates it to run the servo and to run the receiver. Receiver is tucked up just underneath there. So there's the receiver, just kept there, and then obviously exits out of the hull. Being a carbon Kevlar hull, it can shield signal, so you want the aerial actually coming out the pipe. Now the signal can get out of the boat nice and easily, so you've got good control. You don't lose any radio signal to the boat. Lastly, the canopy. If I flip that over, there is foam underneath there. Yes, we learn our lesson. If you've watched my videos, you'll see I lost the canopy because there was no foam under it. The GPS module is there, and also to get the GPS module signal through properly, the initial carbon Kevlar layer is sanded away to just have fiberglass so the GPS signal can get through, so we get our speed runs. 2 pins locate the front of the canopy, so it's pin locked down. they lock in. I'll see if I can get it to do it. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to get these to line up. There we go. That's locked in. Hatch fits down, hatch is down, and then 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. That holds it down, and then the whole thing is taped for a run. Side grip, this glue that is being used everywhere, which is a remarkable glue. I'll input a short video about side grip now so you can understand what I use there. So this is side grip, the stuff that I've used to put my boat together. Very expensive stuff, but really, really cool stuff. So there's all the codes for those who want to see what it is. That there in Australia, at the time of purchase, about $110 for half a kilo of side grip, 10-to-1 mix. This stuff is used in the trucking industry to do firewalls. Extremely strong bonds to just about anything. And now I can be testament that at 152 kilometers an hour, it can handle holding my 2 LMT 3080 engines in place without breaking anything, only splitting the hull. And it was a big crash. So there you go, MGM Push the Limits is back and running again. It has actually been in the water. It has actually run, test run. The boat was doing a casual, I think I topped out about 140 kilometers an hour. It did run circuits with it. It's running really well. We're going to go through all the alignments again, just to double check them. They have been gone through, but we'll just double check them all and start speed running again. So the boat is back. So thank you for watching this far. If you've got this far, you're obviously an enthusiast like myself and want to know a bit more about these things. But I appreciate you sticking around and watching. So like and subscribe, because when I do post, it's normally about something fairly cool. This is the next one that we need to do a post on. It's going to go through some changes. If you don't know about our monster truck, that is radio controlled. We'll get to that one and more of the things at Ultimate RC events in the next video.